Good morning, Mrs. Butterworth is the 23rd episode of the 6th season of Two and a Half Men. This is directed by Mark Roberts, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. Really thoroughly enjoyed this one. As much as I'm not a huge fan of Chelsea-centric episodes, I did think this one was a lot of fun and one that has a moment in it. There's one moment that has haunted me since I watched it, probably the first time, and I will talk about that moment when we get there. Starts off with Alan and his dummy. And Chelsea and Charlie are going out, and Chelsea doesn't want to see Alan staying home on his own, so reluctantly, Charlie agrees that Alan can go to the movies with them, and he does. And the next morning, Alan and Chelsea are going to the farmer's market, which ruins Charlie's plans of morning sex and then napping, so he's not exactly very happy about this. And then we get the moment that I love. Alan is playing with his dummy again, and it's when he says mayonnaise. It's a ventriloquist dummy, and he's practicing saying mayonnaise. And every time I hear the word mayonnaise, and sometimes even when I say it, that is how I say it and hear it. And I love it and I hate it. It's definitely one of the moments that will stay with me for life. And Alan and Chelsea are spending a lot of time together. And on the one hand, that's a great thing. Of course, you want your brother to not only approve of your partner, but to like them, to enjoy spending time with them. But Charlie's feeling a little bit left out. He's sitting watching television and the dummy is watching him. It's very sinister. And then Jake comes over. And Jake brings in some comedy. He made some unfortunate comments to Judith, and then, well, Charlie happens to refer to Jake as the dummy. Jake doesn't get the joke. It was good fun. I really liked it. Charlie's then talking with Berta on the deck, and she mentions something that, on the one hand, really helps Charlie look at this from a different light. But also, I don't think it's maybe the healthiest thing. She basically explains to Charlie that he has the perfect setup. He gets to have sex with Chelsea. He gets to do all of the things he wants to. But Alan gets to do all of the things Charlie doesn't want to do. Charlie doesn't want to go to the farmer's market first thing in the morning, but Alan does. So Chelsea gets to have that. And Charlie explains it's like she has a gay best friend. And a little bit of stereotyping there, but I think it helps Charlie to see this in a positive light. Is that the healthiest way to look at a relationship? Not necessarily. But if everybody's happy with the setup, then is there an issue? I don't know. I think that's maybe a bit of a grey area. And Chelsea and Alan are playing Scrabble, and then Chelsea decides that she wants to go upstairs with Charlie because Charlie whispers something to her that indicates some kind of the best sex she ever had, presumably. And she abandons Alan to go upstairs. And I don't agree with that. If you're going to commit to a game of Scrabble, at least see it through until the end. But nevertheless, Alan doesn't seem too bothered about this. I think he probably realises that, well, I think maybe he realises what's happening and that Chelsea is getting to do all of these things with him simply because Charlie doesn't want to do these things. And he talks to his dummy about this. And he gets quite sinister again. I love this moment. The dummy suggests killing Charlie to solve this problem so he's no longer being used. And Alan says he couldn't do that. And the dummy replies, "Don't worry, Alan, I could do it for you." Terrifying, but absolutely love it. And Chelsea and Charlie are in bed, but Alan keeps texting her. Is he doing it on purpose? Yeah, I think he probably is. As Charlie later explains, he's text blocking him. And Chelsea keeps responding to his texts, and not a good look for Chelsea either, because she could actually just turn the phone off or tell Alan, "I'll reply soon," bearing in mind he's in the same house. And nobody's really behaving perfectly here, but Charlie realises that he has to put a stop to this if he's going to get what he wants to get. So he goes to speak with Alan, and he ends up in a fight with Alan and the dummy. And I have to say, physically very funny. Chelsea catches them, wonders what they're doing. The dummy's kind of hoisted into the air. Very amusing, very, very well done. And the final scene is so funny and so sinister because we're in Alan's bedroom and all we can hear is Chelsea and Charlie arguing above him. And Alan is lying in bed next to the dummy. In itself, funny, but they're wearing matching pajamas. I think that's absolutely hysterical. Very creepy, but very, very funny. And just the dummy made this so fun. Had the dummy not been in it, had it just been an episode about Alan spending time with Chelsea and Charlie realising he could have the best of both worlds, he could be there for her physical needs, but not necessarily there for her emotional needs, which again, I don't think is a healthy relationship, but if that's just what the episode was about, the dummy wasn't in it, it still would have been good. Because I think it would have been very interesting. Could this kind of setup work? I think it's quite thought provoking. Again, on the one hand, if everybody's happy with it, what's the problem? But at the same time, I don't think it's very healthy. And in the long run, I think Alan could become quite emotionally damaged by this, constantly being used, always feeling like he's only good enough for some things and not for others. To be fair, though, Chelsea could potentially feel the same way as well, because that's how Charlie is treating her. I don't think Chelsea is consciously using Alan, because Charlie is the one who's kind of instigating all of these scenarios. Not the farmer's market necessarily, but I don't think Chelsea is thinking, well, Charlie doesn't want to do it, so I'll just use Alan instead, because Chelsea has often tried to bring Alan into the relationship, which, again, maybe not the healthiest either. So I think it raises a lot of concerns about how everybody is behaving in this relationship, and I do treat it as a weird kind of three-way relationship. A lot of questions. I think it provides a lot of food for thought, and it's very funny. For me, the comedy mostly came from the dummy. I don't know if I have... Well, the interaction with Charlie and Jake was quite funny. Most of the episode's funny, but for me, the dummy was the highlight, and I will forever hear and pronounce mayonnaise the way Alan does as the dummy. It will haunt me for life, and I love it. It's maybe one of my favourite episodes from season 6, and I can say that now because we are only a couple of episodes away from the end. I think just one more episode in this season, which is terrifying. But in general, while I don't love episodes that are focused on Chelsea, the fact that this is one of my favourites in the season definitely says a lot. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with Chelsea. As we see here, she's a really good person for the most part. She might make some poor choices occasionally, but she seems like a genuinely nice person. I just don't think she's that interesting. But nevertheless, Good Morning, Mrs. Butterworth was a really fun episode of 2.5 Men, one that will haunt me forever, and certainly one that I'm sure I will always really thoroughly enjoy.